I don't know if he owns the video, but he had like the most views. In the town there was a SWAT team, and they were wrapping up some operation. I don't even know what it was about. But these people were on a street corner filming something, and on the adjacent street corner there was a guy with his dog. It was a rather large size Rottweiler. And he was watching the police operations, and he was also filming, it looked like. And he was saying a few things that were inaudible. And you also hear in the foreground the guys that are filming saying some things, and they see the cops start approaching the guy with the dog, and so they say, oh, we better not get in your car, oh, we're gonna get shot at, or, you know, they're joking around before the violence happens. And the guy's putting his dog away, and as I said, he is saying some things, and I couldn't make it out. I didn't analyze it very deeply. I listened 3 times, and I couldn't figure out what he was saying. It wasn't that loud from the distance from that camera, and it was like had an accent or something. He was saying something almost like under his breath, but I think the cops could hear it. So 2 of the cops approached him and right away started to cuff him, and after he had put the dog in the car. So they were cuffing him. The guys are filming it watching, and the dog is watching, and a 3rd cop's come over right to the corner, and he's watching. And then the guys filming go, watch out, because the dog gets out. He doesn't like what's happening to his owner. And the 3rd cop is fussing with him, and obviously pretty scared. Like, this guy doesn't know how to handle the dog. So he whips out his either a 9mm or a Glock. You know, he's got his little handgun, which is deadly at close range. It's not a toy. So there it is, and within a few seconds he pops the Rottweiler pretty much in the midsection in the chestal area. 3 or more times. I didn't make an exact count. The canine goes down, and whatever your reaction is right now, you tell me. Do you think that was right or wrong? Okay, so you're forming your opinion one way or the other, but just based on your initial reaction, and by the way, if you haven't even seen the viral video, you're just hearing about it now, my initial reaction was, that's wrong. But I had to step back, you know, and analyze what my feelings are, my emotions, my indignation or anger or you know reaction. I had to analyze it and go into the omniscience. What's going on here? Why is this now going to become a video that everybody can analyze in their minds? And is there something overall that we need to take from this, so it's going to teach us as a community of video watchers, or a community of activists, or a community of the general public? Is there something that we are being shown here to enlighten us? Because that's actually what a video is, believe it or not. That's the way it goes these days. That's the technology that's able to shape our state of mind. So I'm stepping back from it, my initial impression, and I'm saying, I don't know if it's right or wrong. There's obviously a side to it that's saying it's right. That's right that happened. Now, I'm not going to go into a whole analysis of what I saw going on there. I'm just going to give you the impression of the cop that did the shooting. Because he jumps into this automatic mode. Here's a guy with a gun in society. That's what a police cop is. He's got a gun. Sometimes he's going to use it. If a cop has a long career, believe you me, he's used that gun. So to his mind, especially right away when he does it, the automatic reaction says, this is right. And in order to follow it through, if there's going to be a hearing or some police oversight, yeah, right, they'll police themselves. That's another issue, or a whole other can of worms. But if it goes to court in any civil suit, he's going to perpetuate the line that he was right. You know, obviously they know they have to carry it through. You can never admit guilt, especially those people. They don't want to admit guilt. So here's it comes down to this: conscience. If someone doesn't have a conscience, then everything they do is right. But they'll have conflicts with people outside of themselves. And here's the real answer, I think, to the very profound question that you raised. And that's a question for all of us, if we're truly going to be humanity and to join the club here, the spiritual path. Knowing what's right and wrong really depends on how far you want to slice it. If you want to look at life as just, you know, what happened to the dog's life is over, that's bad, so it's wrong. But if you enlarge your scope and you look at, here's the owner, here's the people watching, here's the neighborhood, here's all the cops, here's law and order, here's American society overall, and dogs are dangerous. Look at all the pit bull attacks and Rottweiler attacks and Dobermans. The guy should have had his window rolled up. So you enlarge it and enlarge it even further. And if it's 50-50 in black and white, you can't have any in between. You have to say something is right or something is wrong. If you go to the maximum complete scope of everything that's attached to the issue, you've got to weigh it out in order to say whether something is right or wrong, one or the other. You have to have a total, complete view in order to do that. So that's actually impossible for most people, because they spend their whole lifetime analyzing one issue and just expanding it further and further into the universe to figure out, actually, was that right or was that wrong? You could literally spend a whole lifetime on one incident, let alone all the other things. Look at how many other viral videos are going on, and look at how many violent acts and crimes, and just scratching the surface of what there's video of. I mean, and what there's not video of, the things that are not seen. You can only imagine, or some people can only go around hiding it in their own memories, like, oh, never let it out, you know, it's a crime, you know. There's deathbed confessions to say, you know, something was wrong, or, yeah, I was in on the JFK assassination, and I'll tell you who else did it. That was wrong. See? So, in other words, the question is valid, but in order to give a proper answer, you'd have to keep going and going and going and adding more information to it. And then it makes you question, well, why focus on that incident to say whether that's right or wrong? What about saying, is it right or wrong to have cops policing a free and sovereign group of individuals called society? Maybe we should ask if that's right or wrong. And then expand it like even further. Should humans exist on the planet Earth? Is that right or wrong? So then you start expanding from your focus on what's to be right or wrong within the scope of everything. There's two things here. There's two things, and you've got to be able to see those components. And then the third thing is the analyst of it trying to decide, is it right or is it wrong? So there's three things. There's the looking at it, that whole process that the intelligent mind has to do, and then the two components, the question within the context of the world. So, number one, you've got to start with a useful and appropriate incident to question. Number two is you have to understand what's actually the context of it. You know, the entire world, the American society, the global society of the future. You know, all these things are part of the mix. And at that point, you'll be able to reach some conclusions as to absolute right and wrong. But if you keep your focus small on every little thing that comes out each day in the current events, you know, if it bleeds, it leads, then obviously somebody's mindset is going to spiral in a pattern. And they're going to say, you know, everything where a little creature gets killed is wrong. That's going to be their automatic reaction. So they're going to be wrong, 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 wrong. There's so much wrong in the world. Or, like I said about the cop, is going to watch everything about law enforcement and arrests and crime. And that cop, or those cops, are going to say, that's right, 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 yeah. Hanging around eating our donuts. Yeah, right, right, yeah, man, right, 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 of course. See, they're going to have that pattern. And obviously, if you step back and you want to be unbiased, and you look at those two kinds of people that I just described, it's just some extreme examples, you're going to say, they don't know, this one doesn't know what wrong is, and this one doesn't know what right is. So you end up back in this nebulous, kind of open-minded, hands-off area called the New Age on your spiritual path, and saying, well, nothing's really right or wrong. It depends on perspective. If our minds were only a lot bigger and omniscient, like the Supreme Mind, the Atman, the Brahman, the God, Yah, Jah, Jehovah, the Judge, the Great Almighty, the Ancient of Days. If only our minds were like that, then we'd have the answer. And God's probably asking himself, or herself, or itself, depending on how you want to look at it, was it right or wrong of me to create the devil? That's an ongoing question. So we end up with philosophy, and we just have to answer to our own conscience. And I guess if people are not on the same page and they have a different sense of right or wrong, then it's eventually going to spill out as conflict. And that's the problem with the world today, because we don't have a standard, a spiritual standard as to what's right and wrong. We try, but it seems that here and there and everywhere we eventually get into major problems with groups of people that are stuck together that don't have the same standards, the same rules, or the same sense of right and wrong. And then somebody has to come in and balance it out. Thanks for listening. Make your comments. Share this with all your friends. Favorite it. Thumbs up. And make sure you're subscribed.